evening, I'm Anthony Rippo.
And I'm Adam Inting.
And welcome to Retro Game News. Here are the top stories from this past week. Quake turned 30 this year, and to mark it, the studio behind the modern Wolfenstein games has built a free 19-map campaign for the original 1996 shooter. Dawn of the Machine, developed by Machine Games in collaboration with id Software, launched on August 6th as a free update for anyone who owns the Quake remaster. It is available now on Xbox Series, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and 5, Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 via backwards compatibility, Steam, and Game Pass. No separate purchase is required. This is the third time Machine Games has done this. For Quake's 20th anniversary in 2016, they released Dimension of the Past. For the 25th in 2021, they released Dimension of the Machine alongside Night Dive Studios' full remaster. Now for the 30th, Dawn of the Machine continues that pattern with the largest episode yet. The update adds 19 maps across a cohesive campaign, a new soundtrack, a dedicated episode hub, and a deathmatch map. New enemy variants include the Rocket Ogre, Demo Dog, and Blood Shambler, each with distinct combat behaviors. New weapon variants include a reworked super shotgun and a laser cannon with ricocheting projectiles. The episode also adds persistent health and ammo upgrades that carry between levels, layering light progression into classic Quake combat. The announcement was made at QuakeCon 2026, held August 6th through 9th in Grapevine, Texas. Quake's place in gaming history is well established. Released June 22, 1996, it was the first major FPS with fully 3D environments and real-time lighting, pioneered online deathmatch through Quake World, and launched both the speedrunning and esports communities. Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails created the original soundtrack. The Quake engine went on to power Half-Life, Medal of Honor, and other landmark titles. Machine Games, the studio behind Dawn of the Machine, is known for Wolfenstein: The New Order and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, a team with deep roots in the genre working on the game that helped define it. The Quake remaster is currently 60% off on Steam and included with Xbox Game Pass. Dawn of the Machine is available now as a free update on all supported platforms. One of the most popular joysticks of the 1980s is going back into production after more than 40 years. Commodore International announced on August 11th that it is reviving the TAC-2, a controller originally manufactured by Sumcom Technologies in 1983. Pre-orders are open now at Commodore.net, with shipments starting October 20th. Standard Edition costs $49.99, and a limited Founder Edition with gold PVD-coded accents runs $64, a deliberate nod to the Commodore 64. The TAC-2 connects through a standard 9-pin Atari joystick port using direct metal contacts rather than microswitches, exactly as the original did. It is compatible with the Commodore 64, the Commodore 64 Ultimate, the Amiga, the Atari 2600, and any other system built around the 9-pin standard. There is no USB, no Bluetooth, no wireless, and no driver software. Generation Amiga put it plainly, quote, "No drivers, no button mapping software, no wireless pairing. You plug it in and use it." Commodore made one meaningful change to the internals. The original TAC-2 used an automobile TR-418 tire valve assembly at its core, but modern versions of that copper part have become weaker and thinner. Commodore fabricated a new steel shaft and says the result is stronger than the original, which Suncom had rated to 3 million moves without failure. The cable is now 2 meters, longer than the original. 5 colorways are available: Basic Beige, Sea White, Night Black, a Transparent Starlight Edition, and a Gold Founders Edition. 3 of those include LEDs under the fire buttons that light up when pressed. The other 2 retain the original unlit design. The revival has drawn criticism. Retro gaming sites have noted the joystick lacks USB connectivity and that its 2 physical fire buttons are wired to a single input, standard for the 9-pin era but limiting by modern standards. Commenters called it, quote, "a low-effort design that is just trying to make a quick profit off nostalgia." Others noted that with $24 in shipping to Texas plus tax, the real cost of a standard unit reaches roughly $80. Commodore's position is that the TAC-2 is a preservation product, not a modern controller. Working original TAC-2s sell for $100 or more on the resale market. The new version costs less and includes a stronger shaft. For C64 Ultimate owners using the 9-pin standard, a USB adapter would add latency. The TAC2 is designed to plug directly into the machine it was built for. Pre-orders are now open at Commodore.net. Shipping begins October 20th, 2026. The studio that made Double Dragon and River City Ransom also made a beach volleyball game in 1988, and most people have never heard of it. V-Ball, developed by Technos Japan and distributed in the United States by Taito America, arrived on modern consoles on August 13th through Hamster's Arcade Archive series. It is available now on Nintendo Switch, Switch 2, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Xbox Series. V-Ball was directed by Yoshihisa Kishimoto with music by Kazunaka Yamane. Players control two characters named George and Michael, described by Hamster as, quote, two young men who enter a nationwide beach volleyball tournament for a $2.5 million cash prize. The arcade original came in both 2-player and 4-player cabinet configurations and let players control where the ball flies during serves and spikes, with more powerful attacks achieved by tapping rapidly. Technos Japan built its reputation on the Kunio-kun series and Double Dragon. The Kunio-kun games were famous for mixing sports with fighting. Super Dodgeball, Nintendo World Cup, and River City Ransom all used the same characters and the same chaotic energy. V-Ball sat outside that franchise entirely. It used original characters instead of the Kunio-kun cast and played like a proper volleyball game rather than a brawl dressed up as one. Multiple gaming databases note that Technos' titles outside Double Dragon and Kunio-kun franchises did not achieve the same kind of success. The NES version, released as Super Spike V-Ball, was published by Nintendo in North America and later bundled with Nintendo World Cup on a combo cartridge as a pack-in title. A version for the Sharp X68000 was released exclusively in Japan. Beyond those two ports, V-Ball never appeared on another platform. The arcade original has been inaccessible on home hardware for 38 years. It was also absent from the Super Technos World, River City, and Technos Archive Classics collection that Arc System Works released on Switch in April 2025, a 12-game package that covered much of the Technos' library but left V-Ball out. Technos Japan went bankrupt in 1996. Arc System Works now holds the company's intellectual property. The Arcade Archives release marks the first time the original arcade version of V-Ball has been playable at home, with standard series features including online leaderboards, CRT filters, and save states. It is available now on all supported platforms. The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion has reached a Nintendo console for the first time. Oblivion Remastered launched on the Switch 2 on August 11th, 20 years after the original debuted on PC and Xbox 360 in March 2006. The digital standard edition costs $49.99. The physical deluxe edition at $59.99 ships the complete game on the cartridge with no additional download required beyond the Day 1 patch. All DLC is included: the Shivering Isles, Knights of the Nine, and every other expansion. The full cartridge decision is worth noting because many third-party Switch 2 releases ship as game key cards, small cards containing only a download code that still require an internet connection and enough storage to pull the entire game. Oblivion Remastered avoids that. The announcement landed the same week Sony confirmed it would end disc-based physical releases on PlayStation by 2028. The Switch 2 version was ported by Virtuos and runs at 900p in handheld mode, 1080p docked, both at 30 frames per second with DLSS upscaling. No 60 FPS option has been announced. The game uses Unreal Engine 5 with Lumen and Nanite for visuals, while the original 2006 Gamebryo engine still handles physics, combat, and AI. Virtuos added several Switch 2 specific controls. Mouse mode, which uses the Joy-Con 2's optical sensor as a mouse on any flat surface, along with motion control and touchscreen support. There is no cross-buy, no save transfer between platforms, and no Game Pass access on Switch 2. Players who own the game elsewhere will need to purchase it again. The remaster originally shadow dropped on April 22, 2025, across PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series, and surpassed 9 million players in its first 3 months. On Switch 2, Oblivion Remastered follows an established pattern. Skyrim Anniversary Edition arrived in late 2025. Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition followed in early 2026. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle launched earlier this year, also on a full cartridge. Each release reflects Microsoft's stated approach of pushing Bethesda's library across platforms rather than holding titles exclusive. Bethesda has confirmed that remasters of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas are in development, described in a company blog post as, quote, one of our biggest priorities today. No release dates or platform details have been announced. Oblivion Remastered is available now on Switch 2, PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. And that concludes our top stories from this past week. Thank you for watching Retro Game News, where we inform you of yesterday's gaming news happening today. Good night.